Greetings, fellow Cameroonians at home and abroad. This is Chairman Capo Daniel of the People's Right Advocative Platform, PRAP. You are all welcome to this platform where we bring in information that are important to you. We bring you the truth to know the verified information of what is happening to help you shape your own mind and be able to empower you with the knowledge we need to bring change in our world, to preserve the public interest, to foster democratic activism and human rights. So today, ladies and gentlemen, the family of Anicet Ekane, the president of Monidem, who we believe was murdered in Cameroon custody, have hired a very, very renowned French lawyer. And this is very, very significant. And this lawyer is William Bourdon. William Bourdon is a very, very renowned French lawyer. The fact that he has accepted this case of Ekane to investigate and to prosecute the Cameroon government members who are involved in this suspicious death, this murder of Mr. Ekane, is very, very significant. We cannot joke with this. This is a very big news we want to bring to you to reinforce the campaign that right things, legal steps needs to be made. We cannot just end on talking on social media, but real steps needs to be made on the ground to make sure that people are held accountable and these criminals in the regime, especially Paul Atanga Nji, which is highly involved in this case, should be brought to justice. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a little bit background of this barrister in France, he's William Bourdon. He's one of those lawyers, international lawyers, who were critical in arresting Rwanda members who participated in the genocide to be brought to justice. He was the spearhead of those legal action in France, including members who committed war crime in Serbia. So this is an internationally renowned lawyer who have accepted to take this case. We know such acceptance are very, very significant. It shows how international this issue, this crisis has become. This can indeed break the back of this criminal Paul Atanga Nji Paul. And we want to bring this news to you very, very deeply. So let me go to my notes so that I give to you exactly what I've written down based on our conversation with a lot of people that surrounds this case. So you are all welcome. And my country people de ground also are welcome. Notre frère francophone aussi, vous êtes bienvenus. J'espère que tous les Camerounais comprennent quand même un peu d'anglais ou de français. Donc, je vais continuer à parler pour tous les Camerounais. Donc, ça, c'est un breaking news qu'on vient de nous informer que cet avocat français a déjà pris le cas de Anicet Ekane, qui était mort en prison à la main du gouvernement camerounais. On a aussi à voir le nouvel détail de ce qui avait passé avec M. Ekane. William Bourdon is an investigator and a lawyer in France. He's licensed to work also in Cameroon. So this decision is very important for the legal maneuver that goes forward. It shows an internationalization of the fight against impunity in Cameroon. So this William Bourdon is a very significant choice for him to approach. I think he also made a move because we know that it's not just an offer. He also made himself available. He's a heavyweight. He's a heavyweight international litigation lawyer known for relentless pursuit. He's an activist lawyer for judgment against government officials and also big corporates in malfeasance way across the world. So the regime will be peeing in their pants for this lawyer coming in this case because we know that this case is a very clean-cut case of Atanga Nji Paul committing murder. So we are now witnessing a growing France where big figures are now turning against the Paul Biya CPDM regime. This movement now is big in France. This is a sign that the French government itself is wearing a thin line on this impunity in Cameroon. We have seen opposition party leaders in France coming up against the regime. We have seen significant activist journalists picking up on the regime. So this is very significant. So we want to examine the role Paul Atanga Nji played in this case based on new information that we have received from very credible people on the ground in Douala there about his administration. We now know from Cameroon government officials that Atanga Nji Paul accused Ekane of insurrection. The document came from Paul Atanga Nji saying that this man should be arrested. So, what was his crime? because he said that Paul Biya did not win the election. That is all. So Atanga Nji Paul accused him of insurrection, and he was detained ultimately, and he lost his life as a result of the decision made by Paul Atanga Nji. We know that Alice Nkom, who is the spokesperson of Issa Chiruma, have made similar statements, and all these statements are fall within the realms of Cameroon Constitution of freedom of speech. So why did this particular man, Anicet Ekane, arrested? Is because we know that he facilitated Maurice Kamto's presidential campaign, even when Paul Atanga Nji personally vested to make sure that it doesn't happen. So one man cannot be judge, jury, and executioner called Paul Atanga Nji. So we want to call Paul Atanga Nji out based on information that we have received that he was behind the arrest and murder of Mr. Naked. And this is an abuse of power. He is being isolated by other members of the government of Cameroon. Ministers have come out to isolate themselves from these actions. And this shows that this impunity will end. The Minister of Defense in Cameroon have put out messages and allow subordinates to also publish detail of this case that implicate Paul Atanga Nji. This shows that they are actively pointing fingers on him, distancing themselves from him as a lone enforcer of these draconian measures, enforced disappearance and murders. Paul Atanga Nji is the man who believed to have silenced these people, thinking that he is securing favor from Paul Biya. He tramples upon fundamental human rights of every Cameroonian, including now murder, cold-blooded stone murder of this gentleman to seek favor. This must end. We must shed light to make sure that these abuses cease. You have seen attacks against journalists in Cameroon, targets of activists, people, even musicians like Longe were tortured. Unarmed civilians have been accused of insurrection and arrested en masse, mainly for questioning election result, which is allowed for freedom of speech in Cameroon. Such actions must have consequences, and we must highlight it to the maximum so that people can see this man, Paul Atanga Nji, for who he is. I'm going to take exception also and play an interview that was granted by Rene Sadi, deliberately so, to a journalist where he also point finger at Paul Atanga Nji and isolated himself from this case and really show the world what is actually happening. We hope now that big international figures like William Bourdon will shine a light in this injustice that is happening in Cameroon and demand for freedom for Cameroonians from such terror as perpetrated by Paul Atanga Nji, and the respect of the rule of law should be upheld in Cameroon to protect the right of all human beings and humanity in Cameroon. So this is our fight, and this is the moment we have to hold the oppressors responsible. So before I play that video, that audio of Rene Sadi, I want to put a video of Anicet Ekane just as a memorial so that people can remember who he is and what he did before he was targeted by this monster of a man called Paul Atanga Nji. This is one of the videos of him addressing the Constitutional Court that opposes what Paul Atanga Nji was personally trying to do in Cameroon there, that I think it is good to play so that people can see exactly who this man is. The video might have not been transferred to my phone, or is there. So this is the video which I want to share with you of Anicet Ekane.
Il a déclaré qu'il veut se venger, que je l'ai humilié. Je lui demande officiellement pardon de l'avoir humilié. Mais qu'il m'oublie alors, qu'il passe au pays, qu'il pense à tout ce qui meurt, faute de soins, qu'il pense à son ex-camarade Abanda Pama, qui est mort, faute de soins, Moussigi, faute de soins, il est Lamatou, faute de soins, Diwa, faute de soins. Qui m'oublie? Je lui demande pardon. Pardon les gars, oublie-moi. J'ai mal agi. Mais pense aux autres, pense au pays, pense à ta famille, à tous ceux qui vont trouver cette décision, si elle est prise dans le sens du rapporteur, terrible.
So that is Ekane in the Constitutional Court appealing to the humanities of the judge to think about their families. Think about all those who have been murdered with these flimsy cover-up statements. Think about all of them. not knowing that he is going to be the next victim. Who is going to continue to be the next victim as we watch this regime murderous machinery in the person of Paul Atanga Nji go out there to crush Cameroonians as a whole. Now we know that he's doing that on his own. I want to play to you, ladies and gentlemen, this interview from Rene Sadi, which he gave, and we know that such interviews are not just given randomly. These are deliberate actions taken by members within this government to expose what is really going on so that Cameroonians should know. This is Rene Sadi. He is the Minister of Communication in Cameroon. The Minister of Communication does not just go out there to make statements without having presidential authority because he speaks for the head of government, who is the head of state, Paul Biya. So these are very significant statements, and I want you to go through this statement, this interview with me. Some people have already listened to it on WhatsApp, but listen from a unique perspective of this platform. Let's go.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Minister. My name is Angie Forbin. I'm a US-based Cameroonian journalist. I wanted to ask you a few questions. Are you aware that Mr. Anicet Ekane has just died?
Well, I heard it this morning.
But he'd been in
I
jail.
heard it.
So this is Rene Sadi picking up a phone call to answer. That was when, and that's yesterday when the news break out that Ekane was dead. He is saying that he heard the death. So definitely he picked up this interview knowing very well that this is going to be the subject, and definitely trying to pass a message to Cameroonians, which I want you to take note of this message that they are trying to pass. And notice that Rene Sadi is somebody close to Biya, very close to the regime in power. And so these are the cycle of the people who rule Cameroon, who matter to the regime. These are the Bulu Beti ruling class. And these are the message they want to put out there. So listen.
This morning.
Okay, but what's the government saying? He's been in jail for almost 40 days, and for the past 3 weeks, he had been saying that his oxygen extractor had been seized by the gendarmerie, a gendarmerie colonel called Mr. Otulu, and nothing was being done. He said that he was in a health crisis and he needed help, and for some reason, his oxygen extractor was still not returned to him. How does the government feel about such a thing?
Well, let me check up. You know, I am the spokesman of the government, but I'm not the substantial administration or the minister in charge of police and gendarmerie. I will check up. I'll ask the governor what happened, and then maybe I may come back and inform you, okay?
But even from a person...
So what Rene Sadi says is very critical. Remember, this is a very smart guy and you know what he's doing. He says he's trying to show the distinction of government positions in Cameroon and positions of responsibility, claiming that he is not responsible for police, he's not responsible for the other various ministries that are going on in Cameroon, to show that there are some distinctions that are going on. The issue here is a minister, Paul Atanga Nji, who is trying to play the role of Minister of Communication. That is a clear indication that even Rene Sadi is saying that this guy is trying to play like he's a minister of everything in Cameroon when he is not. So these are very deliberate words which I want you to know. They have told Rene Sadi what everybody knows, that before Ekane died, he was complaining, even naming the colonel who was in charge of his detention, refusing to give him life-saving, life-supporting medical equipment as oxygen that you breathe, that led to his death. And Minister, what he's saying is that, forget about the details, this is what I'm going to tell you. I am the Minister of Communication. This guy going out there running his mouth, he's not the Minister of Communication. There are Minister of Police, there are Minister of... He mentioned police deliberately. Remember, he was not under the detention of the police in Cameroon. Why did Rene Sadi mention police? It's to tell you that these are the right people who were supposed to handle anything if there was indeed a crime that was committed by Anicet, Ekane, that deserved him or warrant him to be in custody in the first place. It should be the police. It should not be the military tribunal. So he is pointing Cameroonians to the right direction, which I want you to take note.
Personal perspective, sir, in an ace politician like that dying in detention in such conditions, what is your own personal perspective? How do you feel about this? Does it tell well about the vibrance of Cameroonian democracy?
So they are asking the minister, Rene Sadi, your own, as a human being, on a human level, how do you feel about this? Remember the reaction of Paul Atanga Nji when he was asked a similar question by human rights activists who went to his office to discuss other issues, and this topic was brought in. This monster, this Satan, demonic person in cat impersonation, Paul Atanga Nji said that he will buy the coffin of Anicet Ekane. He didn't care if the man died. He didn't even care as a human being that such a person who is sick, 4-year-old person, in this condition, you have empathy, irrespective of your political background. This is to show you that this man, Paul Atanga Nji, is evil. He is Satan himself, Satan in human form, walking on this earth. This is the replica of Satan. Look at Rene Sadi. These are the Bulu Beti people, Ewondo people. Look at him. Hear what he says about this, about Ekane.
Politician like that dying in detention in such conditions. What is your own personal perspective? How do you feel about this? Does it tell well about the vibrance of Cameroonian democracy?
I am sad. I'm sad. It's Ekane was my friend. I knew him very personally. So I'm very sad. So this is my own feeling. I'm sad.
Yeah, you say, I'm sad. Ekane was my friend. He was my personal friend. I know him personally. I am sad. That's the expression of human beings. Because at the end of the day, whether Paul Biya is a puppet and the puppet government or what dictatorship, we are all human beings in Cameroon. We grow up in the same neighborhoods. We have human connections with the fellow Cameroonians. These are not people who come from space. They are human beings. At a human level, you have compassion. You have empathy. Even in detention, there are empathy shown to prisoners. To have this man cold-bloodedly murdered in the worst possible way by taking away oxygen from him, Paul Atanga Nji is indeed Satan. This is Rene Sadi talking about his empathy towards this guy.
This is my own feeling. I'm sad.
Do you think he should have gone to jail? Do you think he should have?
Sorry?
Do you think he should have been thrown in jail for his political activism? Was he a threat to democracy?
Well,
Do you think he was a threat to the nation's peace or democracy?
You know, there are some decisions which are taken, and people think that when they behave like that, they behave for the influence of the country. But sometimes, you know, they do not consult.
Here, this is critical. Rene Sadi is saying people taking decision thinking they are doing it for the interest of the country. Definitely reference to Paul Atanga Nji, thinking they are doing it for the interest of the country without consulting anybody, without consulting people. To tell you that Paul Atanga Nji is taking decisions in this country without any consultation, even with the presidency, arresting very significant political players in this manner, committing murder in this manner, even without consultation. So listen.
Those who can have a different position. So I think we should regret what happened. We should regret what happened.
So he's saying that we should regret what happened.
Yeah, I would allow that. You see, is my own point of view. But let's wait and I presume that.
So that is Rene Sadi, the Minister of Communication for Cameroon, distancing themselves, not only distancing themselves, but exposing that Paul Atanga Nji is a lone wolf going out there to kill, to murder. Somebody with no human connections with the Cameroon players and Cameroon political establishment, whether it is in a quarter or it's his own village, he doesn't have any friend. He's a murderer. Somebody rejected in Bamenda. In his own village, he cannot go back to his village, going around pretending he's building churches in Francophone areas when he is a monster. He's a devil. He's a cold-blooded murderer. Let the game begin and let this big international lawyer, William Bourdon, go after this man with proper investigation that can hold him accountable, not just in the courts in Cameroon, but in international court. Everybody know what he is doing. He will be put out by the members of that BR regime outside for Cameroonians to give him what we used to call mob justice, as he deserves on the streets in Cameroon. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the news that we are bringing to you, that a international lawyer, a reputable international lawyer, Mr. William Bourdon, have been hired by the family of Anicet Ekane to take investigative and to seek justice for his death, which we believe was a cold-blooded murder. We have seen various members of the Cameroon government coming out to put out Atanga Nji and tell the world what happened. Now we have now confirmed that he wrote a document, an instruction for the gendarmerie, for the set office in the military intelligence in Yaoundé to arrest Ekane on basis of charges of insurrection for simply voicing contestation against or challenging the election result, which is within his constitutional right as a politician. Because of that, he was arrested. We believe it was a targeted killing. Why? Because other people have also made the same statement, expressing opposition or rejecting the presidential result in Cameroon, but they were not arrested for insurrection. But this one was not just arrested by the police. Paul Atanga Nji make exception to use the intelligence wing, which is noted for committing murder, carrying political actions to murder Mr. Ekane in cold blood. We will continue to highlight human rights violations in Cameroon and for call for justice, because these are all crimes for against humanity. And we are very happy for this move, and we welcome Mr. William Bourdon. We have seen his work in Rwanda, in Europe, making sure that those who committed war crimes in Rwanda are brought to justice. Those who committed war crimes in Serbia are brought to justice. And we are very confident of his choice, that he is going to bring justice for many Cameroonians who are observing this case. We continue to pray and call out these type of cases of abuses in Cameroon. God bless you all.